All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a lesson on how to be an Israelite makes you the luckiest person, or one of the luckiest people in the world, man. And when you really consider and look in the Bible and see what an Israelite actually is, right? It's not made clear what an Israelite is until you compare it with something else, right? And the best thing to compare an Israelite with to see how lucky they are is to compare it with an Edomite, right? Now, there's many places I can go to in the Bible, and one of the first things I'm going to go to is Genesis 15, in fact, because before the Israelites even existed, they was given a 400 years captivity that they were predestined to face. Now, saying that Israelite is one of the most lucky people in the world, and then understanding this kind of sounds contradictory, because you're like, well, how are they lucky if they're going through captivity, and if when you read through the Bible, they got all these other captivities going. But when you understand that that's part of a method that they've got to go through, a certain pathway that they've got to go through to where eventually they rule forever afterwards, right? It's worth it in the end, right? To if let's say that Abraham was told that we as Israelites was going to have to go through um 1,000 years, a million years of captivity, right? It would still not matter, because eventually we're gonna get a kingdom that we rule forever, man. This is Genesis chapter 15 and verse 13. And he said unto Abram, nor of it, which is Abraham before his name was changed. And he said unto Abram, nor of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And just on the topic of Abraham's name being changed to Abram's name being changed to Abraham, and how Abraham's name was previously Abram. People will understand and read that in the scriptures, right? But then when we say as Israelites that we're Israelites, they'll say, oh, the Israelites were not African. The Israelites were not African. As soon as we say that we're Israelites, they'll say the Israelites were not African. But when so-called white people say that they're Israelites, no, you don't hear no one say the Israelites were not European or anything like that. And if a Chinese person says that they're an Israelite, no one's going to question it. It's only when a specific group of black people say that they're Israelites that you hear anyone say anything. I've never even seen anyone this bamboozled by Native Americans or Latino, the South American community, saying that they are Israelites, man. It's only when we say it, man. This world is heavily against Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and yet for all of that, we're still the luckiest people in the world, man. And I'm going to show it. Verse 13 again, and he said unto Abram, nor of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall afflict them, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And this was something that was done before the Israelites even existed, but the judgment was also predestined as well. Verse 14, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance. And that's talking about Egypt, the Egypt captivity in the book of Exodus, right? But then there's a modern day Egypt as well. And just like how it was, that captivity of ancient Egypt was predestined, the captivity of modern Egypt was also predestined, right? And after that captivity, it's not a thing of us coming out with great substance. We're going to come out of that captivity immortal with an everlasting kingdom, right? We come out of that captivity with an everlasting kingdom being immortalized forever, having an everlasting kingdom, being an actual immortal, being a God on earth that nobody can physically harm and do anything to, man. Right? No one can make you cry. No one can make you fear. No one can try and push your buttons, right? Because we're going to be in control of that society and of that world forever. And there ain't going to be nobody that can do anything to us. Nobody's going to be able to do anything about it, man. And I just want to say this to make it clear, because it's the truth. There's going to be a lot of judgment going on, and it's going to be physical, right? It's going to be physical, just like how when we got judged, our judgment was physical too, right? So why would anyone else think that their judgment that they're going to receive is not physical? Now, I said I'll go to that first. In fact, I said that in order to understand how lucky it is to be an Israelite, you have to compare it to something else. Well, Yahweh made that be a easy thing for us to do within the scriptures, man, because he made Jacob, the Israelites, have an evil twin that although they were twins, they were two complete, although they were literally born at the same time, and he could have made them be like two tribes of a same nation. He decided to make two nations out of twins that were completely separate. Now, in order for me to get that, I have to go to Genesis 25. Genesis chapter 25 and verse 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So two completely different nations, even though they're twins, which still these bugged out Christians can't understand that whenever they hear it, man. They still try and make it like Jacob and Esau are the same nation when it's clear that they're not. And that's why they shouldn't be in the position to tell and try and teach anybody the Bible, because they don't know what they're talking about, right? They're just chatting, to say it simple and plain, they're chatting shit, right? To say it's in the most simple way, they're chatting shit and they don't know what they're talking about, man. They're running their mouth, pretending like they've got some kind of wisdom, and ultimately they don't, right? So I've proved that point. Two manner of people shall be separated from their bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elders shall serve the younger. Now, we're stronger than the Edomites, man. The so-called black people are stronger than the so-called white people. Now, can you find a heavyweight, a man, what kind of Edomite that's 250 pounds, overpower physically, an Israelite that might be 150 pounds? Yeah. But if you find two Israelites that are the same size, right? Or if you even find an Israelite that's close in size to an Edomite that's way bigger than him, the Israelite's still sometimes going to be able to dust that Edomite off, man. When I used to do back in the day, way back in the day, when I used to do boxing and that, right? The easiest fights was always Edomites, man. Punching their whole face off. Punch their face off, man. And one time, way back, which is still a story that I enjoy to think about, and a time of my life that I enjoy to think about, man. I remember one time two Edomites tried to jump me in Camden, in London, and I dusted both of them devils off, man. I dusted them off, right? I dusted them off so badly that the police officer that arrested me then let me go, right? Thought that I jumped them. That's how badly I dusted them off, and it just shows that these Edomites are not nothing, man. They're antagonistic. They run their mouth, but without the sword blessing that Yahweh gave them, they'd be nothing, right? And they know that, and that's why they spend so much money on the sword, right? That's why they love guns, they love blood, they love helicopters, they love anything that that's why they crybabies. Oh, they cannot have nukes and all that, because they want to be the only one that can have one, so that they can try and bully people. Because if anybody else has one, then they can't bully them no more, because now they are part of that group of mutually assured destruction, man. They become a part of that same class. Now, I just proved that Edomites and Israelites was born at the same time, right? Pretty much they're twins, as in that their births were the same at the same occurrence. They were pretty much two nations that were born at the same time, man. But in order to understand again how lucky you are to be an Israelite, man, you have to compare it to something. And Yahweh set it up to where we can compare what being an Israelite's like to comparing what being an Edomite's like. And let's read it. Romans chapter 9 and verse 11. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So the Edomites didn't do anything good for this decision to be made, and the Israelites didn't do anything good or bad for this decision to be made, and neither did the Edomites do anything good or bad for this decision to be made. Yet the decision was made based on what God wanted it to be, based on God's election, based on God's choosing of it, man. Right? It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, right? Which is not the normal order of things. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have hated. Now, why does God hate? If you read that, right, those 3 verses, and ask yourself, okay then, so why does God hate Esau? If you're a thinking man or a thinking woman, the only conclusion that you should be able to come up with is because he wanted to, right? It's not, he said that Jacob didn't do anything good or bad, and Esau didn't do anything good or bad. So why does God hate Esau? Why does he hate him? Why does God love Jacob? What did we do that makes God love us so much, man? What did we do? What did we have an ancient battle in the heavenly realm where we won a Game of Thrones that we don't know about and we forgot about that? And now we're blessed. Did we do something to be blessed like this? Did we? Did we move mountains in the past? Did we do something in the past that I'm unaware of that made us be so blessed? No, we didn't, man. No, we didn't. It's just because of we're lucky, right? We're lucky, man. And the world's gonna realize very soon exactly how lucky we are when we're changed and we start mashing them up, man, for all the evil that they've done to us. Just like how we was broken down to get right, you nations are gonna be broken down to get right. And I don't think there's ever been a nation that's ruled for 1,000 years for people to be like, man, yeah, these people have got to be chosen, but we're going to establish our kingdom over 1,000 years to be like, yeah, these are the people. And then it's going to continue on infinity time after that, man. And after that 1,000 years, there's not going to be no such thing as an Edomite. Every other nation is going to still exist, with the Israelites still remaining immortal. And the same Israelites that was there at the beginning of their kingdom of heaven are still going to be there after that 1,000 years. They're going to be at the beginning of the kingdom being established, right? And be there to make sure that they give Esau a good riddance as well, man. And there's going to be several over millions and billions of Israelites being added to that over them 1,000 years, man. Just imagine how many Israelites are going to exist after 1,000 years of the kingdom, when there's not going to be, the only thing that's going to ever happen to the numbers of Israelites is it's going to be increasing. It's never going to decrease once we're under the new covenant. So if there's 1 trillion Israelites, the only thing that could ever happen to our numbers is 1,000,000,001, right? That's the only thing that could happen. Eventually, like let's just say that once the Israelite numbers reached a trillion, that every single Israelite man and women just decided, you know what, we're not going to have any children for a while. We're not going to have any children for 1,000,000 years from then. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying hypothetically. No Israelite would die, and our numbers would still be 1 trillion. But then only thing that would happen afterwards was that eventually, when they decided to have children again, that the numbers would reach 1,000,000,001, then 2 trillion eventually over time. And how lucky is that of a nation, man? That a person's gonna be able to see their granddad, their great granddad. You know, a man's gonna be able to see his son, his grandson, his great grandson. How lucky is that, man? Who gets to do that in this world? Have you ever seen a group of people that's been able to see 20 generations of sons from their son and be able to literally line them up and be like, raw, we all look different variations of the same face. Isn't this nuts? And be able to see you as that first original person of your beginning of your lineage, or of the new lineage of the kingdom anyway, right? And be like, man, so it began here, and then this is where it is now. When has that ever happened? That's lucky, right? Because it's not anything that we did to deserve that. Verse 14. What shall we say then? Is the unrighteousness of God? God forbid. It's not unrighteousness of God for him to do that, for him to choose 2 nations of people and love one and hate the other. He can do what he wants to do, right? He can do what he wants to do, man. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. So you can't tell Yahweh nothing, man. Yahweh decided of his own self, I'm going to have mercy on whichever people of all these nations that I'm making. I'm gonna have mercy on which one I want to have mercy on, right? And compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth. It's not about, oh, you want Yahweh to love you, so you're gonna make him love you. This ain't in the world where you can try and trick and manipulate somebody into liking you, right? This is Yahweh don't work like that. There's no Edomite that's gonna make Yahweh change his mind on Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18, either for the whole nation or for them as an individual. There's not one Edomite that's going to occur from the lineage of Esau that Yahweh's going to be like, you know what? Okay, I'll get rid of every single other Edomite, but you found favor in my sight. No, they're all going. The day is going to come, they're all gone. And that's why, like, as much as like, you almost, man, sometimes I almost feel sorry for Esau, right? Almost. If they weren't such scumbags, you would almost feel sorry for them, right? You'd be like, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, they're through. But nah, when you actually realize and see what these people are, you're like, nah, bun that. I ain't feeling sorry for none of them because they wouldn't feel sorry for us if the roles were reversed, man. And they haven't felt no guilt in all the hatred that they've shown us since we got the blessing, man. And neither have they tried to have they did anything to change Howard's mind. Neither have they did anything to change Howard's mind. Neither have they did anything to change Howard's mind while they have been in power and been in charge, man. They haven't. They haven't did anything right just the way you be like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe Yahweh should have chose them instead of us. No, they haven't. Right? They're naturally wicked. From what they are and how they was made, they're naturally wicked, man. One Edomite is their natural way is to be an evil demon, right? An evil, conniving scumbag, and that's exactly what they are. And when you're seeing them being nice, that's unnatural to them. But when you see us being wicked, right? That's not actually who we really are as a people, man, because for how violent people try and claim we are, one of the proofs is there's this Edomite that runs around called Chud the Builder, and he just literally goes around calling so-called black people the N-word, right? And no one's really did anything to him. But the world tries to make it like we're so violent, but nah, we're not. Whereas if he was to just go up to random Edomites and be saying things to them to try and antagonize them, Edomites would have got violent. The Edomites are violent, man. And then I remember watching one video of one elder, and what the guy said, when so-called black people chimp out, it's like hoodlums in the streets and all that. When Arabs chimp out, it's Ali Akbar and all that. But when white people chimp out, it's World War One and World War Two, and he's right to some degree. And when they chimp out again, it's gonna be World War Three, right? But that's gonna lead to their destruction, man. And then they ain't gonna be no chimping out, so-called chimping out anymore again. They're gonna be locked up, arrested, under arrest, under the kingdom of heaven's authority for 1,000 years, man. And then after that, good riddance. We're gonna show them this is what you're never gonna be a part of. This is the world, how beautiful this is that you're never gonna get to enjoy. Now goodbye. And it's beautiful to think about it too. Because they don't want us to have no parts of the access to the kingdom that they're trying to make right now, man. This technocracy, right? Where everyone's got an MOTB in their body, right? And just through with a social credit score looking stupid as hell. They don't want us to have nothing. So why should we care that they ain't gonna get nothing, man? Verse 16, so then it's not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Right? Yahweh literally designed in the past the story of Egypt that I mentioned to declare his name throughout the whole earth, but that's the same as what he's going to do now as well. And people are going to always remember the day that America, which is Babylon the Great, fell. The day that a nation that was just being mocked and ridiculed all the time just went from being the bottom and worst nation that gets respect Because we're not the worst nation, even still now. We're not the worst nation in terms of like what people try to say, because look how influential we are. When women see a so-called black man that's on point, all of them are lusting after him all the time, man. They can't help themselves, right? They can't help themselves, and they really rank it in their mind higher than the men of their own nation being in that position, because they already know that there's way more stumbling blocks for us to reach that spot than anybody else. Or what Edomite's worth 10 million. Okay, and an Israelite man's worth 10 million for the same exact category of thing of work. Everyone would already know that really he should be worth probably 50 million. It's just that the society is trying to hold him down. As much as this guy's bugged out, Kanye West, right? That guy came in and changed the fashion industry, man. Everyone loved his clothes. I think that they look stupid as hell, but he understood something about people to where he understood the fashion industry, but they hustled him and got him out of his thing, man. But he knew what he was talking about. People was wearing it, right? People still on that Yeezy stuff. Let me carry on. Verse 18. Therefore have he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he hardeneth. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who have resisted his will? Neighbor, old man, who art thou to replies against God? So who are you talking to? That's a modern way of saying it. Who are you talking to? Well, in fact, why even opening your mouth against God? Who are you to open your mouth against God? Who are you? What have you did in life? You think you know the world. What have you did, man? And that's how you had to drop it on Job. Job's questioning, oh, why am I going through this? Why am I going through that? Yo, who are you even talking to? You're going through it because I want you to. never mind no questions. Because we could question right now, why did Yahweh make us have to go through the blessing and the curses? We could question that. But he's doing it because he wanted us to. Deuteronomy 30 and 1. We had to go through the blessings and curses before ended up getting the kingdom. Basically, it says that Deuteronomy 31 verse 1 all the way up to verse 7. That's a whole, that's pretty much covers every single captivity of the children of Israel, including now, and including the return of Yahweh Shai. That covers that, them 7 verses cover that whole time span, right? Which lets you know that all this talk about the Israelites being equal and spiritual Israel and all that is absolute bullshit, right? I ain't here to say it no nice, but it's bullshit, man. Right? Yahweh's never going to change and make any nation equal to the Israelites because they're lucky. It's not because of any skill of their own show. It's because they're lucky. And that's how you know that it's not for everyone, because it's not a thing that the Israelites did themselves that made it be a choice. It's what Yahweh chose to do. He made a chosen nation and he hasn't unmade it. Verse 20, neighbor, old man, who art thou to replies against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? Right? What's that saying? Hasn't God the ability to make a nation that he decides to show honor to, and a nation that he decides to show dishonor to? Now, who's the lump? Isaac in this case, right? And who's the vessel of honor? The Israelites. And who's the vessel of dishonor? The Edomites. Verse 22. What if God willing to show his wrath? So, okay, God made of one nation, of one lump, a vessel of honor and a vessel of dishonor. And what was the purpose of that? To show his wrath, right? And to also, on the other vessels, to show his glory, man. Right? Verse 22. What if God willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, enduring much long suffering, the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, or the vessels of wrath are also the vessels of dishonor, right? Verse 23, and that he might make known the riches of his glory and the vessels of mercy which he hath afore prepared unto glory. Now the vessels of mercy which he hath afore prepared unto glory are the vessels of honor, right? Once they get that mercy, that on that day of salvation and during Jacob's trouble, then it says that they're also going to be saved out of it. And then they get that glory, they're going to get that honor. And no one's going to be able to take it away from us, man, because Yahweh's not going to forgive our sins and forget them, right? Not just forgiving them, forgetting them as well. Like a completely clean slate. A completely clean slate, man. We're going to literally be a new creature. It's going to be like all that stuff that we went through and all the wrong that we ever did in our life. It never even happened. That's what it's going to be like. A complete erasure of all the wickedness that we ever did in our life, man. All the things that we're ashamed that we've did, right? All the evils that we've ever did in our life, all the things that people would think that they can try and say something about to us about, but Yahweh has decided to justify us. All that's going to be forgotten, man. And that he might make, verse 23, and he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy which he have afore prepared unto glory, even us whom we have called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. Now, this is where a Christian will think they found one, right? But it's just talking about the Israelites that was scattered among the Gentiles. Verse 25, as he also saith in Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved, which is a prophecy concerning Israel. So why would a prophecy concerning Israel be anything to say with the Gentiles? It wouldn't. Verse 26, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God, which is a prophecy concerning Israel when you read it in Hosea 1 and 10. Verse 27, Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel. So if it's saying Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel, that lets you know that Hosea, which is really Hosea, but he was also crying concerning Israel. Though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. So don't be confused or bamboozled by these Christians trying to think they can save Esau, man. No, they can't. And no other nation outside of Esau is going to be a part of this neither. It's just for Israel, man. Israel only. All these other nations that they think that they're going to try and get some part of this, now you ain't. No, you're not going to, man. I'm going to end the lesson there. And because I just wanted to talk a bit about how lucky it is to be a children of Israel, man. Shalom to the elect.